Good morning and welcome to MtMtE I. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and this is my co-host, Cream the Cat. Who's a good cream? Who's a good cream? Who's a good cream? For today, we're going to be talking about the robot mode for Transformers Alternators Windcharger. Something that came out way back when in 2005. Pretty sure it was early 2005, or it was 2006. Not exactly sure when. But he was a fun Transformer, and I absolutely loved getting him. And I enjoyed the transformation. That's a rank S transformation, in my opinion. And the vehicle mode was superb, but all of the alternators vehicle modes are superb. And now we're coming over here to the robot. Now, we'll get into the robot mode. We'll do an in-depth, hands-on review of this. You're talking about the textures, the feels, and the things like that, and talk about some pros and cons about Windcharger. So if you like what you see here, and you want to help me raise awareness of the blind and the visually impaired, and you want to help me reach more blind and visually impaired, then please go below, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Also, leave me a comment. Let me know, like, out of all the alternators out there, which is your favorite robot mode that you've seen? Like, which one is just the bee's knees of robot modes? For me, the look of this guy wins it. Okay, I really like his look. He's just got it, and I knocked something over. But we're knocking things over all the time here at Blind Prime. So let's get into today's video and talk about him in depth. I guess first off, we'll talk about the weapon, seeing as I knocked it off his hand. So he's got a hand that has articulation. It's got 3 fingers and a trigger finger. And the gun fits in here. It's got these 2 little circles, one on each side, that pop out 2 little bitty pins, and they go into some pinholes in his hand that I don't really care to give a deep search for today, but they are there, and you just kind of slide that in. And if you can line up the holes properly, you can close his hand around it, and it tightens up very nicely here. It's a really good way to do weapons, and I really approve of that. That's a fun thing. I do say the 5mm ports hold the weapons in better. I like how they do the thumb and the palm and turn that into the 5mm port, and then the hands just the fingers just fold around it. I like that port the best. I think that we're going to see a lot of that in the future as this line continues. The gun here, though, is and let me make sure I straighten his legs up. Come on, you. Straighten your legs up. Good grief. There we go. Okay. The gun, of course, is the radiator and the engine block for his Honda mode, and it's got a little joint in it so that it folds around. It also has a little missing part in the front, and that's the transmission that becomes the barrel. So we'll set that gun off to the side. Next thing is I want to mention something. I talked about earlier how this is the precursor line to Generations, and a lot that happens in Generations you can attribute right back to alternators, from the really nice complex transformations to the articulation, to things like 5mm ports, because Windcharger has a 5mm port on each of his arms, one on each arm, and this allows him to put his canopy as a shield. But I gave him a weapon that I pulled off of one of my Transformers since Siege, because I wanted to showcase that it's a 5mm port. So once again, we see another instance of alternators blazing the way, and I think that looks better, blazing the way forwards for Transformers Generations, and we're seeing that even to this very day. When Siege started doing all those Siege ports, those 5mm ports everywhere, we can attribute that to alternators, and I think that's fun. This line always surprises me with how it was the precursor to a lot of stuff that Transformers ended up doing, even to the extent of this gave them enough attention to do the live-action movies. Whether or not I agree that the live-action movies should or should not have had alternators in doesn't matter. The fact is that these attributed to people going, whoa, Transformers can look like real vehicles. I wonder if there's a movie in this. So that was very fun. Let's go ahead and take off the weapon from his arm and give him a really nice little in-depth look. Now, Windcharger is one of those Transformers that has yet to get a Generations release since War for Cybertron, and I'm really hoping I get one. And when I do, I'll do my best to remember to showcase him next to his alternators form, because his alternators form is very fun. Let's come down here to the feet, and we'll talk from feet upwards. And so the feet have these little vents in the toes. I like the toe vents. And they also are decently constructed. There's a couple of panels etched into them, but for the most part, that's about it. I do like how the grill for the front of the vehicle becomes a kind of the boot, the side of his boot. I appreciate that, especially since his feet are on ball hinges and have a bad tendency of wanting to collapse because, you know, he is 20 years old now. And those ball hinges have eroded away. But because of the fact he's got these two things hanging out on either side, they go a long way to helping stabilize the transformer. And I really, really appreciate that. I like the fact that you can get him in some fun poses because of those ball joints, but I also really love the fact that you can lock those legs down by using that. And I just screwed that foot up, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Yeah, you stupid foot. Go back to what you were doing before. Never mind. I guess you're just not going to do the thing. Good grief. Come on, foot. There. Tighten up. There it goes. That's still loose. Why are you loosey-goosey all of a sudden? You were good. You were good a minute ago. Ah, there it goes. Cool. I stiffened it back up. Yeah, you got to play with it a bit, but it's getting old. Now we come up here to the front of the leg, and we got these nice textures. It's actually hydraulics for the underside of the vehicle, but they've done it in such a way to give it just the impression that you know, it's nice robot parts. But there's car stuff mixed in there, and there's also a little bitty screw hole down there, which I wish they had found a way to cover or, you know, hide. So coming up here, the big negative to this guy. Well, actually, first off, the wheel on the side of his leg is covered by his door. So that's kind of a neat little thing where it's just layered, where the wheel is underneath the door that's been folded down the side. And the way the door folds down, it actually stretches down almost all the way to the grill. Yeah, actually it goes all the way to where that grill slips in behind the wheel. So you get this nice, sleek look. It stretches all the way down. I really like that. Now, this is the first thing I have to say is a negative. Now, it could be a negative, or it could just be that mine's really old, because I don't remember. He doesn't have a knee. He does have a transformation knee to the side, but he doesn't actually have a knee. It is kind of something in there. It wiggles, but I think it's just because, you know, he's an older guy, and that knee may have locked up in there, and I may not be transforming it too precisely, because I may have remembered something wrong, but I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be a knee in there, but it's just not happening anymore. So whether or not there's a knee, a question mark on that one. I don't remember, but I do say that this is a decent leg, and I do wish it had a nice knee. We got a thigh that's a bit too short for how long the leg is. So he's got a really long lower leg and then a really short upper thigh. So this guy's seating arrangements are not really the best in the world. The thigh does have some molding on it, some etching. It's got a little bit sticking out because of transformation. That's actually a little tab that snaps into something else. And then we flip him around over here to the back to check out the back of the legs. We get this big old windshield butt, like he's got a big old badonkadonk, and it's a windshield. He's got a steering wheel on his butt because it's driving him. There was a joke in there. Oh well. A windshield. The back of the legs do have some kibble from the car mode, but not too bad. Not too bad on the kibble. It comes together nicely. And there's a little bit of waffling on the sides, but not by too much. Now, let's come up here to, well, we'll talk about his back first, because, I mean, we're already back here. So his back is the hood of the car folded across his entire back, and I do think that's really nice. It does inhibit his waist articulation. He can't do 360 degrees at the waist. He does do decently well, though. I'd say it's definitely, it doesn't allow him to do a 90 on each side, but he gets 45 on each side. So decently well. I guess a full kind of 90 degrees of movement, but not really. I don't know what you would really call that amount. But he can't spin so that he looks directly sideways, because the hood just gets in the way, and it looks bad whenever that happens. If you want to keep the hood folded shut, he actually gets less movement. If you fold the hood back, he gets a little more. And then, of course, you can fold the arms down to try and improve that. But I like how the bottom of his chest area folds in to give him kind of this sleeker feel, and how the hood works with that, so that, you know, on this front end, you don't even see the hood back here, except for a little bit of an edge sticking out on the side. So his profile is exceptional. Now moving up here to his front area, we got the front groin piece that has that cut in it to allow the transmission to rest. There's probably some jokes in there for that for sure. Coming up here to his trunk, we've got the inside of the trunk, which is this really cool vented thing. Man, sorry, the weather changed last night, and I'm just coughing a storm today. So the part here comes into a point, and then it goes to another point. It's this really nice vent, and I remember it looking really cool too. It's like the bottom bit of a samurai's armor or something. It was just really neat. It just kind of flops there, but it holds together very well because of how this upper half folds up. Now this chest piece is simply amazing, and I love that it's completely hidden in transformation. You can't see this at all before you transform him. It just pops out of nowhere, and you're like, whoa, that's cool. And this is a it's got pipes, and the pipes come across. So it's got pipes on each side, and then they come into the Autobot symbol, and they kind of swoosh down towards the Autobot symbol. So they come in from the sides, going horizontal, and then they swoosh down towards the Autobot symbol, and then kind of slide into it on either side, giving the Autobot symbol kind of wings, and makes me really wonder if this guy's a Van Halen fan. You know, he's got these nice wings. I like it. And you got a problem with Icarus. So that's a really fun bit. In the center here, I wish it was etched, but there is a giant Autobot symbol. You know, this guy wears his Autobot symbols proud, loud and proud. And we come up here to his sides of his shoulders. Now, these are just the fun bits, okay? And, you know, one shoulder here has got this wheel. You know, it's got a wheel. It's got the entire back of the vehicle from the rear seats back to the trunk. It's just, it's a shoulder. And it's a big, pronounced pauldron of a shoulder, too. And then on this side, you've got the same thing, but then you have this little radio antenna sticking up. And I love it because it makes me think this guy is for sure a scout. Like, this guy is a scout, without a doubt. He is scouting around, looking at things. And I love the fact that he's got a little radio antenna so he could phone home. And, you know, he's always in communication with base, probably just yapping away at those people. That is Windcharger's shoulders. And I just like the little thing. And then come over here to his upper arm. Now his upper arm is kind of hidden by his shoulder, and it only has side to side motion, but he does have bicep swivel. And then you come down here to a 90-degree bend in the elbow. There's a siege port on the side of the arm. I don't think they actually had a name for it back then, except to call it a 5mm port. So it's siege port now because they finally gave it a name. And then his hand can move up and down, and it can rotate 360 degrees, and of course the fingers can close. He's got a pointer, his pointer finger sticks out. I do wish they had given it another joint so he could actually point. That would have been cool if they had managed to slip in another joint into that finger to allow him to point. And then we come up here to the head. Now his head is really cool. I like the visor that runs across his eyes. I like his sharp pointed chin. I've always enjoyed this guy's head. I like how there's the helmet has this little race bar or racing stripe that comes across the center of it, and it's actually etched in there. It's just, he's a fun little guy. And the back of his head kind of feels like the spoiler for a car, so you can get the impression that his head is kind of a car. With it's got a racing stripe, and then it's got kind of what feels like a spoiler on the back of it. He's just so fun. He's fun all the way down, and that's why I rank his robot mode as an S. Even though it doesn't have knee bend, it's still an S rank because of, you know, the year this thing came out. This was a lot of articulation for a Transformer. This is an insane amount of articulation for a Transformer. Even without knees, he's still got ankle tilt. And that took them years to get right. You know, that what I understand, they just started doing it again in War for Cybertron on the generation scale of things. And this is all about things that we ended up seeing in Generations. You can see parts of it all in this character. Now, something I wish I would see more in Generations is this transformation technique where the windshield and the hood fold or spin and the hood folds flat against the back. I like that part of his transformation. I like how that looks in robot mode. I really would like to see that more often in Transformers. So Hasbro engineers, if you're listening, do this more often. This was a fun thing. This was a fun additional step. I like spinning the windshield. I like making sure I did it before moving anything else because it would interfere with the dashboard. Well, the dashboard would interfere with the seats. It's good. It's good all around. It's a fun transformer in all shapes and sizes. And if you can find it to get it for your collection, I highly recommend getting him for your collection. Like I said before, I'm ranking this guy as an S across the board. Transformation is an S rank, vehicle mode is an S rank, and this robot mode is an S rank. Even with his issues, like I said, he can be forgiven for being, what is it, a vintage now? I mean, he's 25 years old. He's going to be antique status soon. Oh, wow. So get them before they hit antique status and that price goes through the roof. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. And please, once again, go below, hit the like button, share, and comment below about your favorite Transformers Alternator robot mode. Or Beneltech. I mean, they're the same. Till next Pride. Bye-bye for now.